Hi, everyone. Welcome to Beneath the Tangles. My name is Tweak, and I'm the admin for our site as well as your host today. I have a special guest with me. You know her from voicing characters in Genshin Impact, Shadow's House, and most recently, my Senpai Is Annoying and Sing a Bit of Harmony. So, welcome, Risa Mei.
Hi guys. Thank you for having me in here.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Those who are just joining us may realize that you were supposed to join me for a conversation a couple weeks ago, but you were under the weather. How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling so much better now. So I've posted about this publicly, so it's totally fine. But I caught COVID, and the day we were supposed to have our meeting, it was like the day when all of my symptoms hit. And I literally couldn't get out of bed, so I had to like email you and be like, "I'm so sorry, I have to miss this, but I literally can't move."
Well, I kind of suspected what you're trying to do was to get your own interview like we're doing today and just
Absolutely.
okay, so I know how it works. No, that
That's how it
actually
works, right?
it worked out okay because like,
Yeah.
we've got the two screens here and there were three guests with me in that one. So we had the four screens and a fifth one might have thrown everything off. So
Oh,
it ended up working out
didn't think
okay.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we did that interview with Caitlin, who directed Sing a Bit of Harmony, and with Cayman and Jordan, who have roles in the film. But and you were supposed to be there because you play the main character, Satomi, or one of the two main characters, I guess, depending on how you view it, of that film. And I kind of wonder because I'll never be in this situation. What is it like to voice the lead in a movie that receives a theatrical release?
It's funny because like it's honestly it's a situation where I never thought I would be in either, just because I'm fairly new to the voiceover industry. I'm not new to the entertainment industry, but newer to the voiceover part of the industry. And, like for me, being a little person, somebody with dwarfism, I never thought that I would land any sort of lead role, because it's kind of been ingrained in my system from a very young age. You kind of get cynical about it, because
Mhm.
I'm an Asian American woman with dwarfism, so I grew up just thinking like, well, probably not gonna land any of the bigger roles, but hey, that's okay so long as I'm getting work, so long as I'm happy and performing and creating mainly. But yeah, it's insane. The reception has been amazing. The fan base has been really, really sweet. And I'm so sad that I didn't get to watch it because I was sick
No.
with COVID.
I know.
But we did get a streaming link to kind of help prepare us for the interviews, which was lovely and really, really nice. So while people were watching in theaters, I was kind of watching from home in
Mm.
solidarity.
Well, you'll watch the next film, I'm sure that you're in theaters. There'll be another one.
Fingers are
There'll be another
crossed.
one. You mentioned the kind of you're relatively new to the industry. It's really been over the last year or two that all these roles have been coming up, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about your entry into there. And uh, more and more Asian American actors that are becoming voice actors. But I wonder for you, you said like it didn't really feel like an avenue. How did this become an avenue for you?
Well, okay, so going way back, I went through, well, I started off a singer. So that
Yes.
was mainly my thing. And I didn't really expect to get into acting, but because of the amount of auditions available out there, and also like when I was younger, when I was a kid, my mom, she got me into an agency, bless her heart. Uh she didn't quite understand the industry, and
Right.
English is her second language.
Mhm.
So people were telling her to get me an agent, who could help forward me to, any sort of singing gig. And she accidentally got me onto a commercial agent.
Oh.
So I ended up doing, kind of like a lot of commercial acting, like as a kid. And then from there on out, it kind of evolved into more stage acting and then musicals. And then it's still with a lot of, I was still doing like a lot of musical performances in the background. Um, And then I studied music. I studied music in college, and kind of pretty much after that, I went out to Japan, and then I did acting out there in Universal Studios Japan. I was out there for a couple of years, and then I came back
Oh,
here. And when I came back here, I landed a gig with the Jim Henson Company,
okay.
and that was for character work. They wanted me in for motion capture. And I thought, oh yeah, this is cool, like similar to what I'd been doing over at Universal Studios, because I was doing character acting when I was out there in Japan. It's like came back here and I thought, okay, well, great, they want me on because of my character acting background, and that's initially what it was.
Mhm.
Um, and then I learned that they were still looking for a voice actor who spoke some Mandarin, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Like, I understand some Mandarin. So, and the way that that word party works for the production is it's so cool. Like they have all of these rigs inside the warehouse, and then all of these puppeteers who are controlling the faces.
Mhm.
And they are also doing the voice acting as well. And then us as motion capture performers, we're all recorded live and in sync together.
Mhm.
So I would mime out and act according to what my puppeteer Alice
Oh, I
was
see.
doing. And
Uh-huh.
so for everyone else, like their voice actors were already there, and so they were still looking for the voice actor for my character who spoke some Mandarin. I was like, oh no, that's great because I can like mime according to what they're saying or whatever. And they're like, oh, you understand Mandarin? And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm Chinese Indonesian. My
Mhm.
grandma speaks some Mandarin, so like I know a little bit here and there. And so they were like, oh, okay, well, we'll consider you. And I was like, I mean, what? and that and that was kind of what started it, because they ended up hiring me and brought me into the booth to do ADR after, and
Mhm.
it was I fell in love with it. And I think also because of the background that I have in audio and music, and my music and sound background also was kind of nice to marry the two together, like acting and then sound design and all of that, and then acting in front of the mic. And that was it was nice. It was very, very freeing to me personally to be able to act without the confines of my physicality,
Mhm.
um, because when I was doing character work, it was all about you know creating a character with my body,
Sure.
and it's made me very, very conscious uh of who I am and of my dwarfism, and it feels to me like, and it makes sense, like that a lot of the jobs that I did get was mainly due to my height and my size more so than my actual acting chops. I mean it definitely helped,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
a lot of what I did get was because of my height and because of my size. So
So
it's so refreshing.
do you think that so when you that actually that just I've got all these questions now about
Yeah, no, of course, of
when it
course.
comes to the character of Futaba from my Senpai Is Annoying, right?
Yeah.
Um, I guess do you see her as being a character with dwarfism, and was there any type of like hesitation then about taking that role, since she's a shorter character at the very least, talking about kind of the your background and the kind of roles you had taken before you were getting into voice acting?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And like it did cross my mind. I did wonder if she was a character with dwarfism, but at the same time, having lived in Japan, I did meet a lot of, you know, uh Japanese people who did not have dwarfism,
Mhm.
but were very close. Like they were maybe like about a
Yeah,
foot taller than I was. So,
yeah, yeah.
like like having a small Japanese person, it's not too out of the norm. So I
Hmm.
didn't think it was, yeah, I definitely didn't think that that she was dealing with dwarfism. But at the same time, it was kind of nice for me to voice a character that shares the same struggles I
Yeah.
share.
Yeah.
Because being mistaken as a child was that was something that I had to deal with, and also because I'm Asian, so like I've
Hmm.
got a younger face, and growing up, especially like people would look at me and they'd be like, "Well, how old are you?"
Right, right. Well, I'm
um,
18.
yeah, you
Yeah, like,
seriously, I'm just like,
oh,
well,
okay.
I'm forever young. That's how
Yeah,
old I am.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's so cool to see somebody in animation who struggles with height issues, and
Yeah.
everything that's just kind of centered around that. So that was really cool to me. That was really cool to me.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty unique, it seems like, because she's a character that you can relate to with that, but
Yeah.
also, I mean, you're also playing a character who's a young professional. So it's, I imagine for that's not necessarily maybe a common theme for voice actors to say, I really relate to this, character in the year 2400 who's, in Apocalypse, right? But
Yeah.
no, it's like, no, Futaba, like we get mistaken for kids sometimes. We're in our 20s, it just it fits a lot better. That's really interesting. I wanted to get to this a little bit later, but we're kind of getting into this a little bit right now. It's interesting that I don't know, and you may know a lot better than I do. I didn't do any research on it, but I don't know of many or any other voice actors who are Indonesian American. That's or who have dwarfism. So I feel like, I mean, do you feel like you're a trailblazer in being this person in this industry?
I would like to think so. And I at the convention that I went to, Anime Impulse, when I went to Anime Impulse, there was a girl there who, I believe she also has dwarfism, but she was
Hmm.
telling me how I inspired her.
Hmm.
She wanted to get into voice acting as well, and it was nice to see somebody else of short stature kind of getting into the industry. And that oh, it makes me want to cry. It's so cool. It's so cool to yeah, to be of inspiration to somebody else, because the struggles that I went through with dwarfism growing up in the industry, it sucked, and it sucked hard. And yeah,
What,
I
what were
would,
what were some of those struggles that you had to go through?
knowing that I would never fit into the bigger roles, knowing that I was always going to be typecast as an adult for um side roles, creature roles. I mean, Peter Dinklage is doing wonders for the dwarfism
Yeah,
community.
yeah,
Bless. And it's nice to have someone like him trailblazing the industry on behalf of our community. And I just, I want to help and also kind of forge the way for us as well.
yeah. It feels
Because
it feels like you're really at the beginning of a big movement.
yeah.
I was reading about Peter Dinklage the other day. He was some interview where he was noting that, yeah, he's had to take roles that he didn't really like the way it represented people like him, but he kind of had to take what was given him. But he's such an outstanding actor, right? He's been able to get to that point where he can
Mm,
take better roles that kind of maybe help redefine people's image, of
absolutely.
not only
Absolutely.
not only you as people, but the ability you have to do lots of different things. And that's wonderful. That, I mean, especially in this industry where this is kind of the impression I'm getting and what people have told me. But there's certainly a lot of people. There are more voice actors than ever, right? People trying to get into voice acting. um, so it takes as much skill or talent and all that as ever to get these roles, right? It's like, oh, Futaba, you would make sense of it. No, you have to you have to audition and be the right person and work
Yeah.
really hard and develop it, and
Yeah.
then your skills shine through, right? And that's awesome because I really, you would think I would think more about you coming from that angle, someone with dwarfism, but I was thinking just as an Asian American, right?
Right.
Growing up, and I think it's a little bit better these days, but certainly what a lot of parents are pushing their kids towards are the professions they know are going to make a good living for you, right? Doctor,
Absolutely.
lawyer, engineer, nurse,
Absolutely.
things of that nature. But that's really
Yeah.
interesting that your mom had already guided you towards, an agent at a young
Hmm.
age. Did you
Yeah.
feel your mom was different than others in the community, or did you not kind of grow up with those kind of restrictions that I may have thought of as when I was a kid?
No, I definitely grew up with, I wouldn't say, okay, so outside of like the performing industry,
Mhm.
she was
Oh,
super
that
Asian
was
mom.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Make sure to
yeah,
get all A's,
outside of
but
the
I'll let you
industry,
do
it was very
commercial.
super Asian mom.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but no, like I did have other family members who were very adamant about trying to steer me off of the entertainment industry and trying to get me onto a path where I would be a lot more stable as an adult, where I would make more money. And so my mom, she's very likes to do things on her own and likes to do
Uh,
things her way,
uh,
regardless of what everybody else does. She's very stubborn, and I kind of take after her and the rest of my family with that stubbornness. Um, but yeah, I think because of that, like she's kind of allowed me to keep on doing what I'm doing because she's so supportive of
Mhm.
what I want to do. And I think she saw in me from a very young age that I was an artist. I was just very, very, I was a lot more creatively inclined than I was with anything else. Like wrote poetry, had poems published in like a book, and would write music, and was very musically inclined, loved acting. And so my mom saw that like when I was a lot younger. And when a teacher told her, like, hey, so your daughter can sing. I think this was like in the second grade, I think. Um, my mom was like, oh, she can? Okay, well, cool. And so it was kind of like from that point onwards where she really um helped me to develop my skills. And
Mhm.
yeah, she's always been a champion of my my love for the creative arts. So yeah, no, I appreciate her for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The back to the film, Sing a Bit of Harmony. For those who haven't seen it yet, and a lot of you haven't because it was only in the theaters for a little bit of time. If you are, by the way, in Canada watching this, it's going to open this weekend on February 20th, but it's only there for a limited time. And the dub may only be one day or something like that. And the dub is really, really good. The voice, the cast is excellent. Caitlin did an awesome job directing it. So I really encourage you to go check it out. But for those who haven't seen the film, Satomi is in a single parent household with her mom. Speaking of moms, right, they're very supportive, and I really love, I really love, and I think that relationship of all the things that are happening in the film, which is about kind of this android that's put into a class and gets to be friends with the other classmates there, and primarily, or most importantly, Satomi. But I think the most central relationship actually to the movie is Satomi and her mom. I love that relationship that those two have in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, no, me too. And I feel like that was honestly one of the things that I really connected with in the
Mm,
movie. Also because it was one of the first scenes that we recorded, because their relationship was established very, very early on in the movie.
mhm.
And so jumping into the booth and then exploring their relationship and seeing uh their dynamic together and how close they were, it really brought me back to kind of like, how close my mom and I are, and how similar that relationship is, because I also growing up lived in a single parent household.
Oh, I
Was my
didn't know
mom.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So a lot of parallels there. Um, the oldest in my family. And so I also kind of felt like growing up in a single parent household, I had to take on a lot of
Mm,
the responsibilities as well. Not as far as like, because it's like Satomi's incredible, you know, heck and mature for her age.
mhm,
She would go and do the budget for the house and
yeah,
everything, and then report it to her mom. And I'm just like, dang,
yeah.
girl, like you're.
Well, Satomi does have like has like advanced Alexa doing her cooking and stuff, so she's got a little bit of an
Yeah.
advantage there. But yeah, no, that's really neat. I didn't know that she had that kind of relationship also. And you know,
Hmm.
I thought the movie did a really great job of conveying how it's not just the parent that sacrifices for the children, but the children are sacrificing too for the family. You know, especially in a
Yeah,
household where there's that kind of there may be a parent lacking, or like in your household where there's extra siblings and everyone has to pull even more of a load to keep the family together. And
absolutely.
yeah, they had an awesome relationship. And one of the things I really liked about the movie is I can't remember how it goes anymore, but so told
Oh,
me there was just like this little chant that they did a couple of times. Do you remember? Do you remember? You know
yeah.
what I'm talking about, right?
I do,
So,
I do. It's their little mantra that they start the day off
yeah,
with. And I think it's
yeah.
fantastic. So it's
Okay.
do your best, forget the rest, give it all you've got. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's exactly it. So yeah, oh gosh, like you must be trained to do that because I would just go, I mess it up. Did you have to practice that, or did you just boom, knock it out of the park?
I mean, I think I had like two passes at it, but it was really nice because honestly, they had Lila come in and record for Mitsuko's part
Hmm.
before they had me in there.
Oh,
So I was able to play off of what
I
she'd
see.
already. So she was the one who established like the chant.
Oh,
So listening back to it, like I had to match her cadence and her tonality and all that. So it was just like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. I guess this is what we're doing. So at that point, it was more of like a listen and repeat for me.
hmm.
But I love it. You know, it's
Yeah.
great.
No, that is so much fun.
Yeah.
There's so much great talent associated with this film too. Like kind of newer talent, I would say because, I'd known about you, but I hadn't listened to any of your roles. I'd known about Jordan, I hadn't listened to any of his roles. I'd never heard of Cayman before. The actress who plays Satomi's mother was so good.
Oh,
Also, it was just
yeah. She's
yeah.
pretty freaking talented.
No, it was awesome. So again, go watch it if you get a chance to.
Yes.
Yeah, but so that's going on right now. You also have a really pretty high profile show going on right now that's currently airing, which is My Senpai Is Annoying. We've already mentioned it. And for me, I'd watched the I'd watched the original language version last year, and I thought it was one of the most pleasant surprises for me of the whole anime season because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if they were gonna kind of fetishize.
Fetishize.
There you.
I know
That's
what you mean.
probably it.
I know what you mean.
I was worried about that, right? But it doesn't do
Yeah,
that.
right.
The show is so it's pretty pure and nice and fun,
It's
but
very
it's so well
wholesome.
written. It's very humorous. It is an excellent series, and so it's kind of it's a four koma manga that's based on, right? So it's kind of a gag manga, but it's adapted so well into a series that flows so smoothly, and there's so much character development and so forth. So I'm just enjoying it so much. How's your experience been voicing Futaba?
I love it. And I touched on this earlier, but I feel like, especially because I connected with the struggle she has
Hmm.
of being a small Asian woman,
Right.
smaller than the average bear. It's really nice, yeah, because I definitely connected to her character. And it's a fun. I think because also like it's a romantic comedy, it's just really fun to like jump into the booth for, because you get to play out a lot of those really fun moments.
Uh,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
she's a
it.
very expressive character.
She's a very expressive character, yeah. And there's a bit of like a spunkiness to her
Mhm.
that I've not yet really played with some of my other characters.
Hmm.
So it's nice to break out of the typecast of characters that I've been hired for, and then play somebody with a little bit of a spunk like Futaba, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just even compared to Satomi, they're like polar opposites,
They're
right?
polar
Satomi is
opposites.
very
Yeah.
reserved, very responsible. I mean, Futaba is responsible too, but she's a tsundere, and she's got all this exactly this spunk, as you had
Yep.
mentioned. Have you ever had a senpai yourself or older brother kind of person that's humongous, kind of like in the series,
Oh
like
my
just
God, I
that
do.
huge like height difference?
I absolutely do.
Uh,
My cousin Jeffrey, he's like six, six something,
oh my
6'2",
gosh.
I think.
Wow.
But we like
Almost
my
twice as tall.
family. Yeah, it's pretty insane because like my family, we all grew up really close.
Hmm.
And so he's my cousin who I growing up was the closest to.
Uh,
So it's funny, you got this giant of a man, and
yeah.
I'm this tiny ass little Asian woman just hanging out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I had already mentioned that the original language version came out last year, and I wonder, do you reference when there's a series like that that's not, I guess not simulcast? I'm not sure about the terminology. Do you reference the original performance in your own, or do you just go in totally fresh?
No, so what we do with a lot of dub anime is we'll go in there and then they'll let us hear the original before we jump in to do
Hmm.
our interpretation of the line.
Okay.
Uh, just so we can get, just so we're faithful to their delivery and
Hmm.
the original intent of the line
Hmm.
itself and the
Hmm.
direction that they want to take it in. Because we
That
have,
makes sense.
we have a small amount of creative liberty, but also because it's also been established that this is how it was intended to be, we
Hmm.
still try to fall in line with
Hmm.
how they want it to be. Um,
Okay.
and it's nice also to be able to do that, like especially in the booth, because I speak and I understand some Japanese. So listening to the original track and then reading and seeing how they've adapted it for Western audiences is so it's so interesting because some cultural references don't translate very well for
Right.
Western audiences. So it's interesting for me to see how they've adapted some of those.
Hmm.
And my translator brain listening back to the Japanese before I jump into the English is always just like, well, this is how they intended it. And then like sometimes like reading the English adaptation, I'm just like, okay, so this is how they've adapted it though. So sometimes like I've had to like shut off translator brain.
Hmm.
And I've been a lot better. I've been a lot better, but it definitely takes some getting used to, and it takes some training, especially if you like
Oh,
understand the
yeah.
language. So it's it's been a challenge, but also really, really fun for me.
Mhm. Are you interested at all in getting involved in the writing side of
I actually am.
yeah.
I've thought about it, but I've kind of just kept it in my head and have
Mhm.
not expressed to anybody that I'm interested in the
Well,
writing side.
Funimation, here it is.
Motivation, just so you know, I'm
Right,
interested and
right.
I'm curious. If you
Putting
want to
this
train
out
me, train
there.
me. Just
Putting
kidding.
this out there. No, I mean that sounds great because I imagine that must be really difficult.
Yeah.
Deciding how you're going to translate that stuff. I had an interview with Caitlin Barr, who does a lot of scripts, and we're talking about that, and it's just it. How do you make that decision, right? Do you stay very close to
Right.
Japanese, or is it not going to make sense to the American audiences when you try to stay too close? I mean, I don't, and then you get a lot of criticism too. So it's
Right.
it's almost a no-win situation. So good luck with
Yeah.
it.
I
But
have so much respect for the adapters. I mean, especially
Mhm,
because you're walking this fine line between like what
mhm,
can translate well to Western audiences, what is going to be easily digestible for them, but also not compromising too much that you're taking away from the culture. Uh, it's it's tough.
it
I can
is.
imagine it's really tough, and I'm another reason why I haven't really like jumped on the boat straight
Yeah,
away is
yeah.
because it's so delicate, you know,
Yeah.
and those are, you do make some tough choices in there. So
Yeah, I imagine.
kudos to all you adapters out there.
Good job. You know, another just shifting gears a little bit, another
Mhm.
kind of ongoing, I guess an ongoing role that you have and kind of ongoing from now on is in Genshin Impact, right? I mean,
Yeah,
would you say that Kokomi is your most well-known or most popular role?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Genshin's got a huge fan base, and an absolutely lovely one at that.
What
But
did it
yeah,
feel like when
definitely, definitely my biggest role today.
how did it feel when you won that audition? I mean, were you aware how of how big it was before?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played. It's funny because I played the game
Okay.
before I auditioned for it.
Hmm.
Um, but my ignorance when I recorded the auditions and sent them in, I didn't realize that they were for Genshin. Even though I played the game like
Oh.
daily at that point.
Yeah, you just
It just went right over my head.
wow,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, like this character art looks really cool. Hey, why not?
Mm,
And even funnier because when the studio contacted me going like, hey, are you available for a non-union game? I was like, oh, work, sure, yeah, I'll take work. And they didn't
mhm,
specify what the game was. They just said
mm,
it was a non-union game, and I was like, yeah,
mm,
cool, why not? Because I knew that it was a studio that I wanted to work with anyways, and so
mm.
I was just like, yeah, no, that'd be really really cool. And then didn't actually find out that she was a significant playable character until
Yeah.
I think it was at the end of my first session, towards the end of my first session.
It's like,
So my,
wow, it's a
yeah,
major character in like the biggest game on the planet right now.
yeah, oh my god, like it it's like I had this very slow like realization
Mhm.
of the character that I was playing. Like it came out in steps because like I found out that it was Genshin Impact um during my sound test. And I didn't know before my sound test that's what it was. Because they wanted a check picture to make sure that I was able to like dub
Mhm.
dub live to picture and see it and have no problems with it like over Skype. And I was like, yeah, cool, cool, cool. And so they showed me well, they played the audio first because the image wasn't working. So they played the audio and I was like, huh, this sounds oddly familiar. Like, where's this from? Where have I heard this from? And then they're like, huh, so the picture's not showing. And then I was like, okay, can I ask what game this is? And they're like, oh, hang on, let me go and check, see if I can make, if I can let you know. And I was like, yeah, cool, cool, cool. And so they got back to me and they were like, oh, yes, so this is Genshin Impact. I was like, I knew I've heard that soundtrack somewhere. and and they finally got the picture working and I was able to like test it out and I was like, oh wow, like that's insane. So in my mind I was like, cool, I get to play a tree in Genshin Impact, this is fantastic. And then they sent me the script and I was like, and the initial script that they sent me was for the trailer, and so it was like, it was small, it was a small amount, and I thought, yeah, like I'm playing a side character, really cool. But that's fine because I get to
Yeah.
play in a game that I really enjoy.
Mhm.
Um, and then during my first session, I saw who the character was, and they told me a little bit about her. And then I got to dub over like that trailer, and I was like, she's not like just some like side character, is she? Like at the end of the session, I was like, who is this chick? and, like, and then Chris always like, oh, so like she's gonna be like a playable character like later on down the
Mhm.
road, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And I yeah, and that was kind of like when it sunk in, and I was like, oh, but like me in the session, I was trying to be professional. I was trying to
Yeah.
maintain professionalism, and I was just like, oh,
Okay.
that's cool. That's amazing. Oh my god, I'm fangirling so hard right now. You know? Yeah.
That's
So that was kind of a journey for me.
oh yeah, that's I can't imagine. That is so awesome. Are you a gamer? Do you play other
Yeah.
games? Yeah. So
Yeah, I do.
yeah,
I grew up playing video games.
And what are some of your like all-time favorites? And are you playing anything now?
So definitely playing some Genshin Impact right now.
Mhm.
Let's see, all-time favorite games. Animal Crossing would have to be one of them because that's a game that I played with since, you know, like way back when, and I'm still playing now. Like I played Animal Crossing when it first released on the GameCube. And then
Oh, yeah.
and then I've kind of kept up with their released games.
Mhm.
Um, but and I'm terrible at this. Like I'll play a little bit of it and then like I fall off of it.
Yeah, right,
And then
right.
I'll jump onto the new one and then play a little bit
Yeah,
of it and then like
yes.
fall off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But another one of my absolute favorite games, I would say, is Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
love the Final Fantasy series.
Mhm, mhm.
That's yeah, that's definitely my jam. I also played a couple of PC games. I
Okay.
played, yeah, so growing up I played like, did you play PC games?
I played some.
Okay. I played like Ragnarok, I played
Hmm.
Gunbound, I played Maple Story, played Rosa Online and then Tales Weaver. I'm
So
sure there's a couple.
I'm not going to ask you, but I could guess exactly what age you are based on what these games that you're playing. Right? Like, oh yeah,
Okay, yeah.
all my like young, a little bit younger friends, and those were the games they were obsessed with, and they still play them
Yep.
sometimes. They still like break them out and play them, every once in a while. Or I had a friend who had a Twitch stream for Ragnarok for a bit and stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh,
Yeah, I grew
that's
up off of that.
but I was gonna. It's interesting how so your journey to voice acting is so different from everyone else's. I've heard, a lot of people that did a lot of stage work and moved into, well, I mean, the kind of different type of stage work, and then or folks who were anime fans growing up and really wanted to do this. And so I asked you about gaming, but I wonder, since anime wasn't really a part of your story of going into into voice acting, I wonder, were you an anime fan before you became a voice actor?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
absolutely was. Yeah,
yeah.
I grew up with it. Cardcaptor Sakura was my absolute favorite, so was Sailor Moon. Um,
So
and
good.
then oh, so good, so good. And then I also Inuyasha
Hmm.
and My Hime, Rosen Maiden, Gothic. I
Yeah, I
grew
can
up
tell
with
your age again from all your all your favorites there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like I grew up with quite a bit of anime and I grew up listening to a lot of J-pop as well, so like even my
Mhm.
music is very like influenced by J-pop.
So,
And
who are you? Some of your favorite J-pop performers?
oh my god, okay, so M-Flow, I love M-Flow.
Mhm.
I love Utada Hikaru,
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Kurakumi, Namie Amuro. Let's see, who else? Those are my favorites, like right off the top of my head. Cream Vision also, they're more of like a YouTube um indie. Well, now I think their stuff's becoming more mainstream now.
Mhm.
Also listen to some Mike Kuraki, Ayumi Hamasaki. Um, let's see, who else? This is some oh my god, I can't remember the
Yeah, when
name.
you're on the spot, it's like everything that you love, you just your brain goes blank.
Yeah, I know. It's like I have like mental flashbacks of
Yeah, yeah.
like the posters that I used to own,
Oh,
you know?
right. If people want to listen to your music, YouTube is probably the best place, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm on YouTube. Love Risa Mei. Same as all of my other socials except for Twitch. Oh my god. So I jumped onto another person's Twitch stream and I was like interacting with them and then I followed them and then they were like, "Thank you for following Lover is a May." And I was just like, so I changed my Twitch username to Risa_May.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if
Yeah.
I would read it like that if I didn't know who you were. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had a couple people who read it like that on Twitch, and I was just like, "This, I don't like
Yeah.
this. We're
I'm not gonna be
changing it."
correcting this forever. This is a little weird.
Exactly.
Right. Well, very cool. Our time is almost coming to an end, but
Mhm.
before I let you go, I wanna ask you about Anime Impulse, since I saw it on your I think you're probably your Twitter account, and was was that the first con that you've been a guest at, or had you been a guest at previous cons?
Oh, absolutely my first one.
Okay, how was it?
It was okay, so definitely stressful,
Okay, yeah.
because there was so much that I didn't know,
Mm,
going into a con as a guest, and
I see.
it doesn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily like preparing for the panel or anything. There was pretty close to no preparation involved with that, but more so with preparing for having a booth, and all the logistics of that.
Mm,
Learning that there were no power outlets at the booth, and then just like it's the small stuff really. And there wasn't a lot of like they said that Sunday when because I went on Sunday, I just went for one day. Um, and so I heard from a lot of people that like Sunday was pretty dead compared to Saturday.
yeah.
And my brain was like, I can't imagine how much more chaotic it
This
would
is
have
dead.
been. I was already like on Sunday, I was already like, oh my God, like, where's this? Where's that? What's going on here? Um, and it left, like, personally, I feel like it left little time for me to go and explore the convention. But it was also really cool to experience a convention from the side of a guest because I grew up going to conventions as well. And I've always just gone as a regular attendee, just to go hang out with friends and walk around, cosplay a little bit. And it's a completely different experience from a guest side because yeah, like just it was just so fast paced and so chaotic, and
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of prints to sell, but it was still, you know, people were regularly like coming up.
Mhm.
So it was a lot, and it was definitely a learning experience. I'd love to do it again. Hello, cons out there.
I feel like you probably needed, yeah, hello cons. Give Risa a little bit more experience, right? A few more times, and then you'll be old hat at it, right? And like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
know where to go, what to bring with you when you have
for
your
sure.
downtime. Yeah.
Yeah, but it
So,
was like honestly, it was so nice though to meet like all like the Genshin Impact fans, and then the people that I've interacted with online. Like I've
oh,
met them for the first time at the convention, and also like meeting my castmates for the first time. Like voiceover is so bizarre for me because I'm used to stage shows. I'm used to on cam where excuse me, where everything is physical and you meet everybody
yeah.
right there and then like physically,
Mhm.
and I feel it's different because voiceover is a very, especially since the pandemic's hit, it's a very
Yeah.
like isolating job.
Yeah.
And it's just you in the booth and whoever's on the other side, and that's about it. So like being able to meet other cast members was really nice and it was very refreshing.
Yeah. And even you're out on the West Coast, right?
Yeah,
So you're even away from a lot of the Funimation people, for instance, right? If you're
I know
you,
I am.
right. So, but I mean, you're with your own. There's California people, of course, and a bunch of folks over
Yeah,
there too.
yeah.
But like there's that physical separation too. Because I was about to say, I had heard that so. Even during the pandemic, of course, everyone just hasn't been able to get together quite as much. And then Funimation's moved locations, and people aren't even like they
Yeah.
haven't even like gone to the new location yet, right? So like that camaraderie, like how's that supposed to develop, right? And it develops, I imagine, primarily right now through those online interactions, right? I love seeing everyone supporting
Mhm.
each other online, and then through conventions, right? I'm always
Yeah,
I'm always seeing the
absolutely.
Instagram stories and so forth where everyone's just hanging out, right? And that's got to be where you you make
That's where we all reconvene and
yeah.
hang out because we don't get to otherwise. At least I would imagine that's how it is. Because, like I said, like this was literally my first convention that I've been to since I've jumped into voice acting.
Mhm.
Um, so I've not had a chance to really, meet a whole bunch of like the other
Yeah.
people like from Texas. So the Funimation crew.
Mhm.
So I've never actually even been to like the Funimation building. It's funny. But yeah, like I would love to go to conventions in the future, like when I feel like it's safer for me, just so I could go and meet people. But I think also like because I've grown up having a lot of online friends and making a lot of
Mhm.
online friends, like online friends was like a big thing for me growing up. Like, had a lot of social interactions.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of almost like second nature for me to just make friends online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a flip now to have those,
Yeah.
a lot of those kind of professional, but right now it generally has to be these online
Kind of
interactions.
has to be like that right now. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really
for sure.
interesting. Well, I hope you'll get to make lots of interactions with people here in Texas also,
Me too.
and that you'll do lots more conventions. I mean, it's awesome that you have such a big role in Genshin Impact, because I hope that will open, more. Everyone wants to see a Genshin Impact panel. I'm sure that's like, that's almost like My Hero level, My Hero Academia level, where they're going to want to get you all together. So, yeah, I know all you conventions are watching this interview, so
Bring
yeah.
us
So
on.
yeah,
We're here.
bring Risa on, and definitely get her. She needs friends, so please,
I need
please help
friends,
her out here.
please. I'm
Please.
super lonely here. The pandemic's doing my head in. So
Doesn't she seem lonely? No. So, but anyway, thank you so much for your time today. It was really a lot of
oh,
fun
thanks for having me on
talking
and
to
thanks
you.
for like holding off until I'm better.
No,
I
I was glad
appreciate
because
that.
I wanted to talk to you about my Senpai Is Annoying also, and it wasn't going to
Yeah.
work with the other interview, so this
Fair.
worked out even better. So,
Perfect.
but
Perfect.
everyone out there, go watch it. Go watch my Senpai Is Annoying. It is such a good show. Check that out. Play Genshin Impact. You're already playing Genshin Impact, but try to roll for a Kokomi or whatever, and then grab
We're getting
her.
a rerun.
Oh, there you go. Exciting. And then also, if y'all are in Canada, once again, A Sing a Bit of Harmony comes out on February 20th. It's only out for about 4 or 5 days. It is really, really good. The director, the original director and writer of that he's a pretty well-known person in the industry. And Caitlin, if you've never watched any of Caitlin's works, this is her first theatrical film. But her series, I mean, she's a well-known voice actress, but she is such a great director. And I'm always watching her dubs because I think she just knocks it out of the park, and she picks great talent, and they're so good. So please go watch that if you get the chance, if you feel safe doing so. And then if you don't, and even if you do, follow Risa all over social media, except for on Twitch. She is Love Risa Mei on everything. So that's Facebook, that's Twitter. She's very active on Twitter, active on Instagram. YouTube is where you find all the music. Although I saw you post some on Twitter as well, so
Yeah.
you can find her all over the place. She's very active. So follow Love Risa Mei on all those platforms except for Twitch. But I'm sure if you look up Risa Mei, they'll find you there.
Yeah,
So,
look up Lover Izame on Twitch. No, just
yeah,
kidding. It's
just don't
Risa
call her
underscore.
that.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you so much.
All right, and thank you everyone out there who joined us for this video. We will see you soon. Please subscribe to us also, and we'll chat and see each other again. So thank you for joining us. Take care, everyone. God bless. Bye.